Hello everyone, thanks for tuning into today's fourth video. Goodness gracious me, we're really pushing out the content today, aren't we? So we're doing Ensembles Watch for today's fourth video. On Monday, would normally do Ensembles Watch live, but I was unable to do that as I did Snow Watch live. So I thought we'd make up for that and have an Ensembles Watch live. We go through all members of the GEFS ensembles, see what they're showing the next couple of weeks, both in terms of the weather and also in terms of the stratosphere. So some stratospheric data coming up a little bit later on, and then hopefully at the end we'll be able to have a look at the ECMWF strat forecast for the next 6 weeks, as that should be updating within the next 10-15 minutes or so. If you could you please like, share and subscribe on the video. Thank you so much for doing that, everybody. Hope you're having a lovely Thursday evening. We've got to put on around 13, I think now, subscribers to get ourselves to 15.4k. So if you could give us tell friends and family to subscribe, that'd be absolutely great. Thanks so much, everybody, for doing that. Dear me. Right, let's start off. Here's Harvey's coughing again. Right, well, let's start off with the GFS 12Z operational run. Shall we? So have a look at that. Starting off on Sunday, high pressure bringing through the country, keeping the south and east quite chilly. Will be milder though further north and west. Now, next week sees high pressure dominating the weather, although the high pressure does pull out to our west, allowing a rather chilly north-northeasterly wind to start getting going then. And then moving up towards day 10, that high pressure sits over the country, bringing quite a lot of dry weather, mild in the north, but a little bit cooler further south. High pressure still sticking around really as we get into early February as well. Looks like it's having a go again towards Scandinavia. Not quite coming off though. So basically just under high pressure, which brings a lot of dry, but probably quite cold weather with further overnight frost. So very, very anticyclonic GFS 12Z run. Let's start going through the ensembles then. So we'll start off with the control run. We'll probably take this from around 168 hours, I think. How does that sound? Right, we're sitting there with hover. Right, so, excuse me, this takes us from next Thursday, with high pressure just out to our west, and around that we're bringing this rather chilly northeasterly wind. What's going to happen after that on the control room? Well, high pressure sticks close to the country, keeping it main dry and settled. However, we do pull in a northerly wind there by the 3rd shift of January, so becoming colder with some north-northeast winds. Snow showers likely northern and east there with that, so cold snap there at the very end of January into the beginning of February with the control run. And then the high pressure slips south and starts to turn milder, wetter, windier from off the Atlantic by the 4th of February, the very end. Ensemble member number 1, looking like this. Let's have a look then. So this one generally mild for the closing days of January with high pressure south, low pressure to the north. Into the extended range, trying to build up a Scandi. Trying to get a Scandinavian high gain. Looks like that is doom though as low pressure deepens in the Atlantic. So that's generally quite a mild ensemble member. This ensemble member number 2. Which again, anti-cyclone to start off with, a bit chilly with winds in from the north-northeasterly direction. That high pressure sticks around the country as we go into the opening days of February as well, just keeping the dry, quiet weather going. This is a big old winter anticyclone, isn't it? 1,040 millibars. This is on sub-member number 3. And again, that one brings a lot of dry weather. That's pulling out to the west, so a bit more of a northerly there. North-northeast in the closing days of January. That brings colder weather back and keeps it going into early February. It's a very cold ensemble member, quite wintry into the opening days of February with ensemble member number 3 winds in from the north and from the northeast. Ensemble member number 4 looks like that, and again we've got a bit of a northerly there at the end of next week. High pressure maintained very close to the country, even into the opening days of February, bringing lots of dry weather with it. Ensemble member number 5 has low pressure, what I'm talking about, it's high pressure, just out to our west. And it's been a very long day. We're bringing in the wind from the north and from the northeast as well, heading up towards day 10. This one's a cold ensemble member as well. Northern blocking getting going. Wow. Northern blocking getting going to our north And low pressure in the North Sea. That's very cold and wintry, isn't it? End of January, early February. Very gracious me. Interesting. Ensemble member number 6 looks like that. Again, a little bit of a northerly there as we go into the weekend, before the weekend of January. High pressure just out to our west, and then ridging in across the country. The last days of the month into early February, looking anticyclonic. Probably chilly from a frost and fog perspective, then low pressure being wet, windy weather in of the Atlantic by the 4th of Feb. Ensemble number 7. Again, with high pressure dominating the closing days of January. So probably a little bit of the gruesome twosome there, maybe a little bit of frost and fog. Starting to get a bit colder as we go into the opening days of February. Look at that, northerly, pushing down by the 4th. Ensemble member number 8, dominated by high pressure at the end of next week. And we keep a mostly dry set weather going until the opening days of February. It's that milder, wetter and windier low pressure coming in from off the Atlantic. Ensemble member number 9. Again, with a little bit of a northeasterly wind there at the end of the next week, but generally dominated by high pressure, lots of fine weather with that, and then we're turning milder, wetter, windier, stormier with that ensemble member into early February. Ensemble member number 10, once more, is dominated by high pressure. Northerly there into the final weekend of January. Ensemble member number 10, and maintain, look at this, proper old northerly blast there. End of January into February. Wow, 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 wow. That's another cold one for the opening days of February. Well, wintry blast. Arctic blast. Ensemble member number 11. Once more anticyclonic, but a bit of a northerly last weekend of January. Into early February, turning milder, wetter, windier with westerly winds. With that ensemble member number 12. Again, a bit of a northerly. Quite a few going for this, isn't there? Northerly, final weekend of January, 28th, 29th. Yeah, a bit of a northerly there. That's going to get cut off, I think, into early February as it turns milder, wetter and windier. So just a brief cold snap. Ensemble member number 13, with that area of high pressure again in control. End of next week, the following weekend of January, trying to bring down a northerly, but not quite pulling it off. Finishing up looking like that, trying to ridge a high pressure towards Scandinavia. Ensemble member number 14, high pressure is dominating the weather, and then goes south and allows milder, wetter and windy weather coming from off the Atlantic. So it's a split, isn't it, between either milder, wetter and windier for the start of February, or being quite cold and wintry. Ensemble member number 15, we're halfway through these ensemble members now, looking like that, just turning milder, wetter, windier for a while, and then colder though. This one turns colder from the north around the 3rd and the 4th of February, cold blast. Ensemble member number 16, with high pressure dominating a bit of a northeasterly wind at the end of next week. Where this high pressure goes is critical as to what happens next, obviously. And this one is going to turn milder, wetter, windier, but it's trying to raise pressure over Scandinavia. Ensemble member number 17. Again, high pressure is in control of the weather. Brings lots of dry weather with it into the final days of January, into early February. Excuse me once again. That high pressure sits over to the east of the country, mostly dry, settled and quite cold with that one. Ensemble member number 18, once again, is high pressure dominated. This time next week, then turns milder, wetter and windier, right way through it into the beginning of February. Ensemble member number 19, once more, with high pressure pulling out to our west, allowing a cold northerly wind to set in next weekend. Only temporarily, but more sort of northwesterly, northerly shots there to the very end. It turns milder from the southwest. Ensemble member number 20. Break down the high pressure through the closing days of January, turning milder, wetter and windier into the beginning of February, and then a bit of a cold snap as the low pressure starts coming in from a northwest-southeast alignment to a jet stream. That will turning colder through the first week of February. Ensemble member number 21. High pressure again in control of the weather. at the end of next week, and sticking around into the opening days of February as well, bringing a little bit of a gruesome twosome maybe. Frosty and foggy. Or foggy and frosty, who knows. Ensemble member 22 is again bringing out a northerly in the last weekend of January. Quite a few ensemble members going for that, aren't there? Quite a few. So northerly winds in cold into last weekend of January. And then going to try and bring the Atlantic in, but it's also raising heights up towards Scandinavia. So we finish up with a little bit of a battle going on. That could go either way. Cold across northern Europe. Try to build a Scandinavian height up with low pressure, trying to bring mild weather in from the Atlantic. Ensemble member 23. Again, it looks like that. Lots of high pressure domination through the last week of January, turning milder, wetter, windier at the end. Ensemble member 24 pulls that high pressure out to our west and brings down a cold northerly wind for a while. At the end of January, then we go into something milder, wetter, windier into the opening days of February. Ensemble member number 25, high pressure in control of the weather till the end of January, and then looks like we're going to go cold into the first week of February with winds in from the north. There are lots of options here to turn things colder. Cold fans, there's still plenty on the table here for you. Also varies also for milder fans as well, though, let's not forget. Ensemble member number 26, again with an Atlantic ridge and a northerly wind into the last weekend of January. That looks very, very cold, doesn't it? Cold and wintry, end of January into early February. Even has a Greenland high setting up. Oh, wow. Look at that. Very, very cold there. Through the final week of January. Let's run that again on opening days of February. Plenty of snow opportunities there, I think, with ensemble member number 26, ensemble member number 27. Once more, turning things colder to the last weekend of January with a northerly wind. What happens after that? Stays cold into the opening days of February. As well, by the way, with low pressure continuing to bring wintry conditions. If you enjoy this Ensembles Watch, then please you like, subscribe. Thank you so much, everybody, for doing that. Ensemble member number 28, once more, looking mostly dry and cold into that area of high pressure into the closing days of January, then turning milder, wetter and windier with that ensemble member into early February. Ensemble member number 29. What's that going to do? So that has a northerly into the last weekend of January as well, and a mid-Atlantic ridge, which is going up towards Greenland. Look at this, early February, very cold and wintry. Winds in from the east and from the northeast. We may be seeing things colder here into end of January, early February. And then finally, ensemble member number 30. Looks like that, and this one I think is going to be a milder ensemble member. Let's have a look. So, yeah, just think it's antipsychotic, so there will be frost and fog and whatnot, but he's trying to introduce. And it is also raising heights over Scandinavia, though. Let's have a quick look at the ensemble graph, seeing how that's looking tonight. So a lot of the options are going cold there, aren't they? This is for London, the red line virtually upper air temperature average. We start off cold. We are going to get a recovery in the upper air temperatures next week, for the middle part of the week in particular. And then this is the end of January, early February period. There are more ensemble members that are going cold than are staying mild, actually, there. The ensemble mean super white line is going below average as well. So we may have some cold weather here at the very end, last days of January, and into the first week of February. Let's start going through the other 12Z bottle output. We shall start, shall we, with the UK Met Euro run. Start on Sunday, so high pressure again, it's reaching into south, low pressure is up to the north. What's this one doing? So it takes high pressure out to our west to Thursday, have high pressure just to our west, relatively mild air coming around top that high pressure, probably a lot of cloud. Icon looks like that, Icon 12Z, so anticyclonic influences through most of next week, centred more or less over the country, so there's better prospect for this being a clearer high with that scenario, high pressure centrally located, less in the way of cloud, and consequently that could be a colder ridge as well with frost and fog potential. We've already looked at the GFS, so we don't need to do that again. GM, again, looking like this, and we have high pressure and control with the GM. But we do get that northerly there, in the last week of January, so GM was also going for that, a bit of a northerly in the last weekend of January there. Upper air temperature particularly cold in more northern and eastern areas. And then finally the ECMWF looks like this. Plenty of high pressure around the country through the course of next week, and no northerly up to day 10 with the ECM. 29th of January, we're still having that high pressure ridging in from the southwest. That's a relatively mild position for the high, especially so for more northern regions. Right, that's that part done. Now have a look at the stratosphere in terms of the GFS. So this is the latest stratospheric forecast from that GFS 12-set operation run that we started off with. This is at Metacella.fr earlier on. Is at Vata. Right, so end of January, we get another major warning of the stratosphere there into early February, penetrating into the Arctic and the North Pole. Displacement event with ensemble member number, no, what I'm talking about with the GFS operational run. Okay, let's go through the ensembles then. So this ensemble member 1, very significant warm stratosphere displacement event with ensemble member number 1, ensemble member number 2, splits of vortex, wow, a big split of the polar vortex with ensemble member number 2, ensemble member number 3, looks like that, almost splits of vortex, just not quite, major warming of the stratosphere over North Pole Belt. Ensemble member number 4, major warming of the stratosphere, displacement event. Ensemble member number 5, major warming of the stratosphere, displacement event with that one. Ensemble member number 6 has a very significant warming of the stratosphere. That's bizarre, isn't it? Look how warm it is over North Pole, but how that strengthens that cold area. That's a very strange one. Ensemble member number 7, major warming displacement event. Ensemble member number 8, again, a little bit less of a warming, I think, with that one. Ensemble member number 9, looks like that, again, major warming of the stratosphere, not quite managing to split the vortex, however. Ensemble member number 10. Oh, wow, this one is splitting the vortex very nicely. Ensemble member number 10, ensemble member number 11, major warming and displacement event. Ensemble member number 12, major warming and a displacement. Ensemble member number 13, major warming and displacement. Ensemble member number 14, again a major warming with that one. Ensemble member number 15, major warming there too. Ensemble member number 16, very close, splitting vortex, doesn't quite do it. Ensemble member number 17, major warming and displacement. Ensemble member number 18, major warming and displacement. Ensemble member number 19, does that split the vortex more? Yes, it does, just very briefly, a little split of vortex there. With ensemble member number 19, ensemble member number 20. Oh, goodness gracious me, what's going on with that one? Where does the PV go? Very strange. Very strange set, this. Ensemble member number 21, looks like that. Major warming displacement, no split. Ensemble member number 22, major warming and displacement. Ensemble member number 23, major warming and displacement. Looks like a major warming is going to take place with a displacement. That's the most likely scenario, isn't it? Rather than a split. Ensemble member number 24, much of a muchness. Ensemble member number 25, again major warming and displacement. Ensemble member number 26, splits the vortex, I think, with that one. Ensemble member number 27. Oh, goodness gracious me. There's some very strange, this set, isn't it, of ensembles. I don't know what's going on with that one. Ensemble member number 28. Yeah, major one with that one. No split, though. Ensemble member number 29. Splits the vortex very nicely. Excuse me, and then finally ensemble member number 30. Looks like about a little bit toned down with ensemble member number 30 tonight, number 12 there. As far as the zone of wind forecast, based on that set is concerned, Mrs. Alvin's looking. This weather is cool, of course. All of these green lines will be going for a reversal of zone winds. Will be ensemble members going for a reversal of zone winds. Several of them doing that, and one really dropping to a very low level just there. There are a few that are rebounding the zone of winds. I assume that they are the ones where we don't get a reversal, we don't get a split, I should say, and the polar vortex remains intact and manages to survive. I would think those are the ones that are doing that. So it remains to be seen what's going on there. I'm just going to pause the video and see if the ECMWF.int website has updated. We'll finish off with that stratospheric data if it has. Hold on. Right, okay, yes, it's updated. So we can bring you ECMWF extended stratospheric data. Hot off the presses, just updating in the last few minutes while I've been recording this. So this is the week 1. 10 HPA temperature anomaly forecast for the Northern Hemisphere. And look at this, big warming taking place next week. This is taking us from Monday the 23rd to Monday the 30th of January, by the way. Big warming stratosphere taking place over Siberia, trying to extend that into the North Pole as well. Displacement of the polar vortex there out into the North Atlantic and into northern parts of Europe. Week 2 looks like that. The polar vortex disappears, and we've got a major warming going on there. Again, because these are anomalies to average, I explain this all the time, because these are anomalies to average, we can't say that that is necessarily reaching southern stratospheric warming levels or splitting the polar vortex and whatnot. However, clearly something very dramatic is going on there to have such widespread above average temperature anomalies. On the temperature scale, it's 10 degrees or more above average in those deep dark red colours. So something dramatic is happening. Week 3 is the 6th to the 13th of February. Again, the dark red colours are maintained. Week 4 is the 13th to 20th of February, shrinking the red colours then. So obviously we can't keep the temperature that high, in the stratosphere indefinitely. So beginning to cool things down, and that carries on into weeks 5 and also week 6. By week 6, signs that PV is beginning to get its act back together over on the Pacific side of the North Pole. That's the 27th of February to the 6th of March. And this is how the ensemble graph is looking for zone of winds, finally, for this Ensembles Watch. So what do we make of that? Well, obviously we're starting off still with very strong zone of winds at the moment. We are going to see a dramatic weakening of zone of winds definitely next week. We're going down to that sort of level. So a big old weakening of zone of winds coming up later next week. Let's get rid of those lines. So these, anything under this blue line here are going to be the ensemble members that are going for a reversal of zone of winds. There are still a few of those doing that, going into negative territory. Just a question of how far down we get this deceleration of zone of winds. Certainly we're going to see a big weakening. Whether we'll actually dip this down into reversal remains to be seen. So we're very close to it, I think, with a lot of those ensemble members. It's, it's 50-50 whether we're there at +5 or whether we're there at 0 or whether we get to there at -5. It's kind of 50-50 really. Not much in it with a lot of those ensemble members. How does that compare to the last update? That's the last update when we had that many ensemble members going for a deceleration. These were the ensemble members that were going to 0 or lower. Down here, that's the latest. Though, yeah, it's very, very 50-50 between the ensemble members that are there, the ensemble members that are there, and the ensemble members that get down to there. Probably fewer going underneath -5, I would think. There's fewer ensemble members going underneath -5, but there's probably more ensemble members that are going like +10 to 0. So it really is 50-50, whether we will get a technical SSW with this warming of the stratosphere or not. We're certainly going to get a big deceleration of zone winds, and all shall be revealed in the next week or two. Right, that's it for this very, very late video. I wouldn't normally be releasing a video this late, but that's it. So tomorrow thank you so much for watching. Tomorrow we're going to have the 6 AM upload. We're going to have Germany Friday. We'll have a 10 to 14 day for you as well. Please keep checking back to the channel for all the content. Oh, don't forget live stream as well, 10:30 tomorrow night. Keep checking back to the channel for more updates for this Ensembles Watch. That's all for now, and thanks for watching.